Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Story Time with teacher Andrea. Today I'm going to read a poem that was read to me when I was a child by my dad, and later as an adult I came across an illustrated picture book version of it, and I just fell in love with it because I always loved the poem itself, and this version is so beautifully done. It has amazing illustrations. And so it's been a favorite of mine. I've read it in many different classrooms, in different schools that I've worked at, in different countries even. And so I'd like to share it today with you on Story Time. I hope you enjoy it. It's called The Spider and the Fly. So this version is illustrated by Tony Di Terlizzi, and it's based on the Cautionary Tale by Mary Howitt. So that's telling us it's a story that warns us about something. So we're meant to learn what not to do, okay, after listening to the story. So the spider and the fly. I hope you can see the beautiful illustration. I'm actually going to turn a little bit to see it better. Based on the poem by Mary Howitt with illustrations by Tony Di Terlizzi. "Will you walk into my parlor?" said the spider to the fly. "'Tis the prettiest little parlor that ever you did spy. The way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I have many curious things to show you when you are there." He's inviting the fly up into his home. Do you think she should join him? "Oh, no, no," said the little fly. "To ask me is in vain, for who goes up your winding stair can ne'er come down again." She knows, she's heard that other insects that follow the spider do not come back. "I'm sure you must be weary, dear, with soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my little bed?" said the spider to the fly. "There are pretty curtains drawn around. The sheets are fine and thin, and if you'd like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in." "Oh, no, no," said the little fly, "for I've often heard it said, they never, never wake again who sleep upon your bed." So she knows there's actually, if you can see the illustrations, there's ghosts of former insects that he's invited into his home. Said the cunning spider to the fly, "Dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I've always felt for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please to take a slice?" He's offering her something to eat now, saying, "Oh, I have lots of things in my pantry." "Oh, no, no," said the little fly. "Kind sir, that cannot be. I've heard what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see." She's afraid of what he's offering her. "Sweet creature," said the spider, "you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your gauzy wings. How brilliant are your eyes. I have a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. If you'd step in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself." He's telling her how beautiful she is and wants her to come in and have a look. He's got a mirror, a looking glass. "I thank you, gentle sir," she said, "for what you're pleased to say, and bidding you good morning now, I'll call another day." So she didn't fall for his trick. The spider turned him round about and went into his den, for well he knew the silly fly would soon come back again. So he wove a subtle web in a little corner sly, and set his table ready to dine upon the fly. Then he came out to his door again, and merrily did sing, "Come hither, hither, pretty fly, with the pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple, there's a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like the diamond bright, but mine are dull as lead." Alas, alas, how very soon the silly little fly, hearing his wily, flattering words, came slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then near and nearer drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head. Poor foolish thing. At last, up jumped the cunning spider and fiercely held her fast. He trapped her. He dragged her up his winding stair into his dismal den within his little parlor, but she ne'er came out again. Just as she feared, if she went up, she would not come back down. And now, dear little children, who may this story read, to idle, silly, flattering words, I pray you ne'er give heed, until an evil counselor close heart and ear and eye, and take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. So what are they warning us not to do? Not to fall into traps when people use flattery and kind and complimentary words to try and pull you in. Be very careful. So in this edition of the book, there's a letter at the end from the spider. And he says, "Dear sweet creatures, no doubt you finished our delicious tale and are surprised by this little tragedy. But then again, what did you expect from a story about a spider and a fly? Happily ever after? Spiders are trappers, for goodness sakes. We've been doing it for generations, and we're quite good at it. Even your beloved Charlotte, in E.B. White's classic Charlotte's Web, admitted as much. But alas, the poor dear never capitalized on her fortune. Now, if I were in her shoes, I would be eating bacon. With the wealth of knowledge about spiders and our crafty carnivorous ways, you'd think my web would be empty. But not a day passes without a hapless bug or two stopping by. What's a spider to do? To be completely fair, my most recent dinner guest put up a commendable fight. But I am a talented and persistent hunter with many schemes up my sleeves. And you can see I always get my bug. So what does all this talk of spiders and traps have to do with you? Be warned, little dears, and know that spiders are not the only hunters, and bugs are not the only victims. Take what has transpired within these pages to heart, or you might well find yourself trapped in some schemer's web. Bon appétit, spider. And actually, one thing that the author of this poem originally never could have imagined, because she wrote it a couple of 100 years ago, is that there are many schemers nowadays online that in these phishing schemes, they're called, where they try and extract information through emails and through text messages and different things. So there's other trappers out there that are trying to, send compliments and kind words and get people hooked. So you have to be very careful. Well, I hope you enjoyed this poem today, this story about the spider and the fly, and I hope you think about how you have to protect yourselves and not fall into any traps or any schemes, because as the spider said, not only spiders are the trappers and not only bugs are the victims, so we all have to be careful. I hope you've had a wonderful week, and I hope you're reading every day, and I look forward to seeing you here again soon on Storytime with Teacher Andrea. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.